place had 2 wins from their 5 outings, with the visitors having lost all 5 matches. Down, playing with the wind, got the 3 opening scores of the game, 2 frees from Donal O'Hare, and this well-struck effort from 50 metres from goalkeeper Michael Cunningham. The home side responded with a well-struck 45 from Colm O'Neill, and when Castlehaven half-forward Mark Collins fisted a Cork score, it was the only point from play in the opening half, as Cork led 4 points to 3 at the break. With wind advantage, Cork found their range, with 4 well-struck unanswered points, 2 apiece from the Nemo Rangers duo, Luke Connolly, and captain Paul Kerrigan to stretch the home side's advantage to 5 points. Colm O'Neill would end the game with 4 scores from place balls, and home goalkeeper Ryan Price produced a splendid save to deny Down's Donal O'Hare only his side's 2nd goal in their 6 league defeats. The Rebels rounded off an Easter Sunday victory with Mark Collins' 3rd score of the game. As it ended, Cork 12 points, Down 7 points.
Disappointing for us here today in Cork. I thought we played well for long periods of time in the game, and I thought we were in the game right to the end, but Cork had a great start to the second half and give them a cushion to play with, and they got the win out of it.
Delighted to get the 2 points, but it was a poor game out there today, I felt. It just didn't take a life of its own. I don't know the reason, whether the reason is the weather or what, or it just seemed to be very flat out there today. But having said that, we tried things. We introduced a few more players again today. And look, the result, we have 2 points, delighted with the 2 points, that's 6 points now in the bag.
Well, tail.
A third of the Dublin team has changed after their 5th win in a row last time out. Michael Savage is in for Stephen Cluxton in goal. Eric Lowndes, Dennis Bastick, Paddy Andrews and Bernard Brogan also come into their starting 15. There are 2 late switches on the Donegal side. Carl Lacey is in at full-back in place of Neil McGee. Hugh McFadden starts at midfield for Neil Gallagher, and Colm McFadden is named on the subs bench. Dublin, after their barnstorming start to this league campaign, are already into the league send them. Here's Michael Murphy, gets away from Dennis Bastick, who's the Dublin captain tonight, with no Stephen Cluxton, and Michael Murphy is surrounded but did extremely well to get the ball back to Oran McNeilish. Donegal, that's a fantastic ball in, what a brilliant ball in, and Owen McHugh they just managed to keep it out. What a pass in. Savage was very quick off the ground and just stopped it going in. Really good football all round. And now in Croke Park, a spontaneous round of applause. We're in the 5th minute. And that round of applause to remember the victims of that terrible tragedy in Buncrana. All 5 of them. Martin O'Reilly, off he goes. And they've nobody in a full forward position at the moment. Carl Lacey went forward. Here's Michael Murphy. Dublin up their defenders back, but Michael Murphy goes, and then they come to surround him, and Michael Murphy gets the first point of the game. And that's more like it, a classic Michael Murphy point. Took it on himself. We're in the 11th minute, and finally we've had the first score after some ordinary football, and Michael Murphy has given Donegal the lead. Dennis Bastick. That's Kieran Gillespie near him. Now Kevin McManaman turns back in on the left boot. Dublin lead. They're starting to get into the groove now, having to work so hard to find a way through this Donegal defence. But that was excellent football, and the marking for once from the Donegal backs wasn't tight enough. Carl Lacey, Rory Kavanagh. Nice jink from Rory Kavanagh. He'll have to back himself from here. Kavanagh trying to draw it in, and he's done that, and Donegal are level. They have been efficient in front of the post, scoring chances for both teams, few and far between. But that's 2 points in succession for Donegal, and it's 3 each with 8 minutes to go to half-time. John Small, Dennis Bastick, Kevin McManaman on the edge of the arc. That looks good. It is good. It's a very fine point from Kevin McManaman. Dublin nudge in front again. They gave him the space, and if you give this fella space, well, you're going to be a bother. spastic. Dean Rock, anxious to make an impression. He's only on the field a couple of minutes, and he has done just that, Dean Rock. It's a draw game again, Dublin's first point of the second half, and it's taken them almost 10 minutes to get it. 6 points apiece. Now, Michael Murphy went in on Kieran Kilkenny, and there was a reaction as well, and that has continued. And it's been simmering all evening. Well, it's boiling over now. Michael Murphy, remember, on a yellow card from the first half. Just have a look at that again. And James McCarthy, well, more upset about it than Kieran Kilkenny was. So the notebook is out, and you've got to feel that, well, they will both get yellow cards, and they have been. But both teams have been reduced to 14 players. Michael Murphy was on a yellow card from the first half. James McCarthy, ditto. And they've both received their second yellows, and Dublin and Donegal will finish with 14 players apiece. And the powers that be may want to have another look at that incident involving James McCarthy of Dublin. Brian Fenton, Paul Flynn, Kevin McManaman, Kieran Kilkenny, Cormac Costello. Fenton's in, took his point, and he had 2 players ahead of him who were screaming for the ball. Brian Fenton helps Dublin into a 2-point lead. This is Christy Toy, came on as a sub, so did Martin McElhenney. Is there a goal in Donegal? Patrick McBrearty would take a point right now, and that is exactly what he's got for Donegal. That's their first score since the 39th minute of the match, and we're now in the 62nd minute. A big return for Donegal, Colin McFadden, and he's back in wearing number 9. Donegal getting their marquee players back week after week. Colin McFadden, that's an important return, but are they going to leave here beaten? Philly McMahon, has to be a goal, and is, and that seals it. They're heading for 6 wins out of 6. And Donegal will cut apart. Dublin 110, Donegal 7 points. There was a goal in the game, and it belongs to the league and All-Ireland champions. Dublin had already qualified for the semi-finals, but they are heading for 6 wins out of 6, and there is the whistle for full time. Dublin have beaten Donegal. It's not a match that will be spoken about for years to come, but they did their stuff. Donegal managed only 3 points in the second half, and Dublin win by 110 to Donegal's 7 points.
Donegal asked us a lot of questions, and I think the players answered them. There's a lot of grit and determination and resilience in this Dublin football team, and to limit Donegal to 7 points over 74 minutes of football and to score overnight from play, it's a good return.
Obviously, it was one of those games where both teams were, having difficulty breaking each other down. But when we went 6-5 up, but even in the first half, I thought we had a couple of chances we snatched at. We were unlucky, didn't get the goal. But to be fair, Dublin finished strong, and I thought they were very good.
Well, obviously, we'll have to wait and see what the championship will bring, but Dublin's footballers continue to look impressive. And in actual fact, Tomas, several counties over the last number of months have been trying to figure out how to beat the Dubs, how to cope with them. And clearly, Donegal didn't figure it out last night either. Yeah, the Dubs are very hard to beat anywhere, Michael, at the moment. In Croker, they're even harder, They set out, Donegal set out as defensively as I've seen Donegal this year. They've put up a couple of big scores this year themselves against other teams. But last night, they didn't give themselves that opportunity simply because they only had one man up and everybody else was behind the ball. Dublin were extremely patient. They took their time, they picked holes. And in that last 20 minutes, as Rory Gallagher said, Donegal seemed to tire, or they became a little bit sloppy with a couple of mistakes, and it was true to be seen. Look, here we're showing how Donegal are vulnerable. They're not too often vulnerable at the back, but from their own kick-out, they don't have their defensive setups. Normally all those guys highlighted are behind the ball, but from the kick-out, they're not in situation. So Dublin had great chance of a goal here. It's the only time. Another time is when they're coming out of defence. Obviously, they don't have all their bodies back. One thing with the Donegal footballers, Michael, is when they are attacking, they're all attacking, and they do leave the house empty. They actually win this ball back again, and straight away
their attitude is up the field. We'll get up the field. Now, the problem is if it does break down and if teams like Dublin get a turnover, they don't have the bodies back. And if this hand pass was executed properly, they were in for a goal.
Sure.
As it turned out, Kevin kicked a good score. Again, here we are, Donegal going short again, coming out the field. A sloppy, not something you wouldn't associate with Donegal, a stupid, sloppy pass. And I suppose it isn't very, very often that you can say that a Donegal team with nobody inside their own 45-yard line, but it happened last night. And I just think Donegal tired. It was a good goal, it was a good finish, and the Dubs persisted. You know, they're a serious outfit. There's no doubt in my mind that they are the top team in the country at the moment, and for the last couple of years. They're really consistent in what they're doing. They haven't had a right good test in the league yet, Michael. I don't know if that hindered them going forward or not, but they'd be hopeful, and I presume Jim Gavin will be hopeful for a tougher match down the road as well.
Well, it looks like they're going to make, well, they are going to make the latter stages of the league, so they will get tests. We had cards last night. Tomas, we had yellows and reds. We also had an incident that Dara Maloney referenced there. We'll talk about that in a little while. What did you make of all this?
Here's the first yellow. Murphy and Murphy got a yellow card here. I don't think there was much in the yellow card. James McCarthy got a yellow card. I think some of the physicality has been taken out of the game for me by certain referees. Here's the other incident where McCarthy gets involved. The big thing for me here, Michael, is the hand to the face.
Yes.
Players should. We've taken the fisticuffs out of football because we know it's not accepted. But when the hand goes to the face, you're in trouble. You have the chances of getting it into an eye, nose, mouth. We had an Onagara situation. Yes, McCarthy put his hand to the face. Yes, it went into the opposing player's eye. When it's slowed down, it looks a lot worse, you know. But the problem here is Philly McMahon, for me, and this is where the GA make their mistakes. Yes. Philly McMahon had the same situation last year, and a lot worse than that in my mind with Kieran Donaghy, and he got a one-match ban. Now I presume if a one-match ban is handed down here, or if they do take it, depends what the ref put into the was it dangerous play or was it for gouging? I don't think it was for gouging. I don't think you could see it. I was at the game and the Donegal players didn't react